now 8 o'clock, and I'm sure that those that are here are either, or that want to be here, are either sleeping in or getting here. But we're going to begin. My name's Randy Davies, and I'm the program chair for this Teaching Adult Evaluation TIG. David Williams is my colleague at Brigham Young University, and he couldn't be here, so I'm kind of standing in for him to explain what this is. When we're about teaching evaluation, we often think of different ways of teaching evaluation. And in the past, when you looked at evaluation, a lot of students come in and they want to have a tool book, a guideline. You know, here's the steps, do this, do this, do this, and then you've done the evaluation and you've accomplished the task. But evaluation isn't that way. And as David and I were reading developmental evaluation when it came out, and we're trying to understand how to evaluate in our context, because in our School of Education, we teach in an instructional design department. So one of the primary emphasis is on designing instruction. And when they do evaluation, they don't think of it as evaluation. They use the adding model, which has the E at the end, which is evaluation. But they don't think that they're doing evaluation. They think that they're doing design, development. And so when we saw this, we thought, you know, this is an excellent kind of a segue into their mind space to say, oh, yeah, you know, this is what I do. You know, because they don't, I mean, they do summative kinds of evaluations, but most of what they do are decision makings about small elements in the program or in their design that will improve what it is that they were doing. And so we're looking at this developmental evaluation. And at the same time, we were asked to go up to the Utah Regency office to do an evaluation with Lumina. It's a Lumina-funded program. I told Michael about this, but so we went in with, you know, all of Michael's understanding of complexity and that which I saw him present a while ago, and it really kind of spoke to me. And then in your 1994 paper on developmental evaluation, he explains kind of the fundamentals of what he was thinking at the time, and he used the term muddling around. And so we're sitting there with these clients, and they've asked us to come in and basically present what it is that we're doing, or what kind of a design, what could we do for them. And we sat down, and they are very used to having people come in and say, okay, we're going to do CIPP, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and it's kind of like, we're going to do this to you, you know. And we said, we would like to kind of do a developmental evaluation with you and be part of your team and kind of help you muddle around. And because they use that term all the time. They said, we're not sure what we're doing, we're just kind of muddling around. And I said, well, okay, we'll come in to help you see if you're asking the right questions, place this complexity. And afterwards they said, and we got the comment, but they said, you know what we appreciated most is you came in and you didn't present this great big model or anything. You just allowed us to tell you what our concerns were, what our needs were, and then, you know, it was very a comfortable kind of thing. That doesn't mean that eventually we won't, you know, kind of eclectically use different models and from our experience, but it was a very nice way of doing that. When Dr. Williams and we switch off the Introduction to Evaluation course every semester. So he teaches it one time and then I teach it the next, but this time was Dr. Williams' turn. And so these are three of our students who are in our program. And as we're introducing all of the different models, one of the tasks is to create a mind map of what it is these approaches are. And Dr. Williams asked them to do this with kind of a foundation of developmental evaluation to try to understand all the different approaches and to explain them, what was your word that you used, to using some kind of a metaphor of what these different approaches might look like in young students' concept of where they are and what they're like and things like that. At the same time, they were using developmental evaluation approach to look at a learning suite program that we had going on at Brigham Young University. It's going to be rolled out in January, and to kind of use that to evaluate and to understand the complexity and the value of that as a learning suite. Having said that, we have 3 students, Annika, Pamela, and Fred. I don't know your Fred's last name. But 3 of our students, and they're going to present. What was the order that you're going in?
I'll start.
Okay, Annika's going to start. What we'll do is they'll present their mind map or their conceptualization, their metaphor for the different approaches, and then after each, we'll ask Michael to comment on it and to make his, give us his thoughts on it. After all 3 are done, we'll open it up to you for questions, comments, and hopefully we'll have time to discuss that as well. So, Anna.
All right. It's great to be here this morning. My name is Annika Majors, and I am a PhD student in instructional psychology and technology. My focus is second language acquisition, and this was the first evaluation course I ever took. It opened my eyes. I had this understanding of evaluation that was very narrow. I thought it was just, the guy we pay to come in and check everything because we have to, because the grant says so, and then we move on. And so as an introduction to evaluation, having a course based around this text was very eye-opening to me and very helpful, because it was showing me that this is actually a very complex and nuanced field that is going to play a big role in my work, even if I am not becoming a professional evaluator, because of its adaptable nature. And I really appreciated that as a framework. So in the course of this class, we all read Dr. Patton's book, but at the same time, each of us read another text from another author and would report back on that to each other and discuss it every week. So I'll be working my other text into my presentation. And then at the end of the semester, actually as it went along, we were asked to come up with these mind maps, these metaphors for what all these concepts and all these new values that we were learning about were actually representing in our minds. So what we talk about is probably still in the very theoretical stages, but for me, it was very helpful to start to understand these concepts, how they played out, and what they actually meant to me in my future work. And so when I was thinking about the different concepts in the developmental evaluation text and in my second text, which was by Elliot Eisner, and so it was more of an arts approach to evaluation, what came to mind was a Chinese proverb. And this is a very evocative proverb that they use. In Chinese, they say, 盲人摸象, and that brings to mind the story of the blind men and the elephant. You may have heard this. It's a story that shows up in Indian culture and others as well. But I thought it was a very easy way for me to picture the concepts that were happening. In this story of the blind men and the elephant, we talk about a village deep in the jungle, and the people hear that there is something called an elephant out in the forest, but no one has ever seen it. They don't know what an elephant is like. And so they set out to try to figure out and comprehend for themselves what is an elephant. Unfortunately, for some reason, the men in this village are also blind, which makes their job a little harder. And the first man goes out to the forest one day and encounters the elephant, and he runs into the trunk. And he feels it, and he starts to get a concept of what this elephant is like. And he decides, wow, an elephant is a lot like a snake. He feels it move, and in his mind, he has an idea that he understands what an elephant is. Well, his friends come out later on, and each of them have a very different experience. One man feels the elephant's leg and decides, well, an elephant's exactly like a tree. I don't know why you were saying this snake thing. It's, it's solid, it's sturdy, it's round.